This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at the BR163MS map. But before that, this video is brought to you by Will Cast and William Rhodes Jr. Thank you for being farm barons. The BR163MS map can be found at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Based on a stretch of the BR163 highway in the region of the city of Dourados in the state of Mato Grosso do Sul. Yes, I'm sure I butchered that. This map is including several characteristics of that region. A region that produces mainly corn and soybeans. This map includes 62 buyable fields, or buyable lands, 46 fields, and 6 fields with sugarcane, 2 grain selling points, multiple production points, quarry, sawmill, animal dealer, vehicle workshop, BGA, 10 new productions, a custom soil map, the ability to sell platinum expansion productions, also has some extra buildings in farmhouses, silos, silo extension, sheds, water towers, greenhouse, plants, and trees. We're going to take a look at those here in a little bit. Some places have opening and closing hours, and also some places flood when it rains. Let's go ahead and load on in. We are going to use the mods that we typically use when we take a look at maps. That is additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. I will tell you, if you load this map up in Farm Manager mode or start from scratch, you will find that the main farm is exactly how you see it here in New Farmer mode, with the exception you do not own any land. In addition, you also do not own any vehicles in those alternate play modes. As we are loading in this map, you will see that there are a couple warning messages that are popping up in the log. We are going to take a little closer look at those here in a moment, but overall, those messages are rather benign. It's simply that the sell point that those messages are associated with are set up to accept production items or sellable items that are not pre-existing on the map. So for example here, this says that the fill type melon, sandia, lettuce red, and fish is not a valid fill type. Quite possibly we're going to be seeing those come in a future update, or maybe the mod author borrowed some of this code from another map, and in doing so had failed to remove those 4 particular fill types. But overall, it's nothing that I would be overly concerned about. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. This is a standard size map. We do have all the standard crop types available to us in Farm Sim 22. And if we take a look at the lands area, you will see that we do own farmland number 1, which includes the main starting farm, as well as fields 21 and 20. In addition to that, we do have a biogas plant that we can purchase for over here at Farmland 24. That is $283,000. There are also some additional farms that we can buy on this map. One of them is here at Farmland 52. There's another one here at Farmland 60. And then there are some additional ones here at, I believe, Farmland 19 for $511,000. Let's go ahead and take a look at the farmland lease screen. This is going to show us all of the viable farmlands, how big those farmlands are, if those farmlands include fields, which field or fields are included, and then ultimately how much those farmlands are going to cost us. Players can either pause the video or slow it down if they want to take a closer look at any one specific farmland. And then here we are about to cross-reference the farmlands with the fields. In our field calculator screen, this is going to show us all of the fields on the map and how big the specific fields are. We can then cross-reference the field number here with the farmland ID number in the farmland lease screen to then ultimately know how much buying any one field is going to cost. Taking a look at our crop counter, we do have the standard base game crop counter available to us in Farm Sim 22. And looking at the prices screen, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of the base game crops that are available to us in Farm Sim 22. In addition, we have multiple sell points for eggs, wool, and milk. We also have the ability to sell silage, hay, straw, and grass. And once we kind of look down here through our production items, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of the base game production. That is once again available to us in Farm Sim 22. We do have a buy point for buying bulk lime as well as sell point. We also have a sell point for stones down at the lime production plant, which is in the quarry. We have then also some additional production. We have soy oil, skimmed milk, UHT milk, whole milk, lactose-free milk. We have canned corn, canned olives, yogurt, tomato sauce, ketchup, and then we get down here through the platinum expansion. And as the description said, we do have the ability to sell the platinum expansion products, with the exception of iron ore. We don't have the ability to sell iron ore. We do have the ability to sell metal rolls, of course. So we now, with the latest 1.3 update to platinum expansion, we can put down an iron ore mine and then produce metal rolls. If you are playing with pumps and hoses, we also have the ability to sell our separated manure. Taking a look at our starting fleet, all of the equipment is new, none of it is leased, and it all has fairly low operating hours. We do have 60 cows in the starting animal pen at the main farm. It has already been pre-configured with TMR, straw, and water. This map does include contracts, and we also have custom photos for our NPC players. We do not own any production chains at the start, and we do have the 20 Holt Belarune game cartridges as far as collectibles. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the John Deere 6250R and the Massey Ferguson 6718S medium tractor. We have the New Holland CH 7.70 harvester that is paired up with the Verifeed 28-foot grain header, as well as the 8-row New Holland corn header. We have the Nardi N40BX header trailer. We have our 2017 pickup truck, the Brantner DD23073/2XXL trailer. We have a Simgard 9500K cultivator, the Maxima 3-till planter. We have the Dalbo PowerRoll 1230 HD roller. We have a Hardy Mega 1200L fertilizer and herbicide sprayer. We then also have the Breedal K105 lime and solid fertilizer spreader. We have the Zelon CFS 2501DO Strataman forage wagon. We have the Kuhn RA142 animal feed mixer, the MKS 8 milk and liquid tanker, as well as the Osquatrans 7300S water trailer. We have the Noah TTW140 animal trailer, as well as the Quickie Q7M front loader arms. And for those front loader arms, we have a pallet fork as well as a universal bucket. Then we round it all out with a 2,500 kilogram front weight and a 1,000 kilogram front weight. Taking a look at our mods and DLCs, you will see that we do not have any custom vehicles or implements that are a part of this map. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look at our build mode, because we do indeed have some custom placeables. Under sheds, we do have some buildings that are a part of this map that we can put down. Silos, we have a custom silo, 1 million liters. Silo extensions, and this is where I'm getting pretty excited. We do have some silo extensions. We have a 500 liter bin silo, and then we have, for $1,500, we have a 200,000 liter ag bag that is set up as a silo extension. Now, while we can't really use this, we could place it by a grain silo and get an additional 200,000 liters of grain storage. We have a water tank extension. We have some custom water tanks. And then we have several farmhouses that are built into the map. We do have some custom production. If you remember, I talked about having the ability to have canned corn and olives. We do have a canning factory located right here that we could put down. We also have a custom bakery, as well as a custom oil mill that is again going to produce those alternate oils. No custom selling points. We do have some custom greenhouses. In fact, we have 7 large custom greenhouses pre-placed on the map. These greenhouses have been set up to take seed, water, and fertilizer. No custom orchards or power generation. We do have a modded feeding barn that is set up with 160 cows. Decoration is standard. And then landscaping, we do have several paintable ground textures that we will take a closer look at as soon as we get over to the main farm. We have our standard trees and some modded trees, including palm trees. Then we got a couple modded plants that we can paint down also. So over here at our starting farm, let's continue looking at our ground textures. We have our animal mud. Another form of animal mud. We have a third form of animal mud. We have black asphalt, dirt, concrete. We have then kind of tiled concrete, dirt, more dirt, forest ground, grass, gravel, an alternate form of gravel, a third form of gravel. Well, let's just round it out with a fourth form of gravel. We have even more dirt, concrete, then we have more gravel, and rock. So remember, we have 3 forms of animal mud. 1, 2, and well, that just looks like wet sand, typically on other maps. Black asphalt. Then we have our wet sand. Concrete. We have the tiled concrete. Dirt. Another dirt. Some more dirt. Various shades of gravel, I suppose. All right, now let's get on with the main farm tour. So, with respect to, can you customize the farm? There are a few items on the farms that you can customize. One of those is the farmhouse, that you can indeed sell a farmhouse. I do like it when you can go into farmhouses. We've got our sleep trigger, and then at the wardrobe, we have our wardrobe trigger. Looks nice. So we can sell the farmhouses that are at the various maps, or various farms. We can also sell the water tank. Things we can't sell. We can't sell this bale barn, or machine shed. We also do not have the ability to sell the animal pen. Even if we sell the animals, the animal pen is permanently a part of the map. Here we have our manure heap. We have our milk trigger. We start out with some silage bales, some straw bales, and some hay bales. We have our water trigger. There's our animal trailer. I do like this cow area. So we have our cow trigger here, 250 cows in this area, and it is multi-leveled. So you see it comes down and around. We've got a bit of a fading pond down here with water. I do like how this is making use of the terrain and wrapping around. We have our food trough. Then we have our farm silo. This appears to be the modded farm silo that is set up to hold 1,000,000 liters. We have our fill pipe, and then we have our dump crate. Now, I feel like I have failed to show you the soil map. So let's jump back real quick and take a look at that. You see the land is mostly loam with some strips of sandy loam, and then between the loam and sandy loam, we have a narrow band of silty clay, and then occasionally we have little patches of loamy sand. Let's go ahead and take to the skies and do our fly around. As we are kind of doing our 360 rotation here, I will tell you this map has 17 production items built in. In addition to those 3 placeable productions, we also have a dairy, BGA, sugar mill, lime mill, flour mill, sawmill, spinnery, bakery, carpentry, and then 8 pre-placed large greenhouses. So with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such, we are going to be giving the map a full point there. In addition, we're giving the map a full point because we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game products, animal outputs, and crops. Here we have a rickety bridge to get across to the southernmost fields. And then let's go ahead and move across the southern portion of the map because down here in the southeast corner, this is where we're going to find the 8 buyable greenhouses. Let's go ahead and take a look across the map from south to north. Over here, just above field 35 and 37, there is a fair bit of organized forestry with trees planted in rows. So down here we have the buyable greenhouses. So you can see we have our 8 large greenhouses. We also have 4 water tanks. And then we have a storage building. The building cannot be sold. So if we do own this land, the building is permanent. Over here we have a production. And this is going to be our flour mill. Now that we have purchased the flour mill, you can see that we are going to be able to make some custom flour. We have the ability to make wheat, barley, oat, sorghum flour. But in addition, we have the ability to make corn flour and soybean flour. So interactive icon, we have our pallet spawn point, and then we have our dump point there. I'm going to try to remember here in a little bit to show you all of the custom pallets that are part of the custom productions. Up here we have our sawmill. So we have our fill point for wood chips. We have our sawmill interactive icon. We have our spawn point for our planks. We then have our sell point for our logs and our log sell trigger. Also at the same place, we have our carpentry shop. This is where we're going to bring our logs or planks. We have our log sell trigger there. our interactive icon, and then around the side we have our spawn point for our furniture pallets. Now we'll have to say the map author has done a pretty good job with respect to the map border. Do remember that we are in fly mode, so we are higher up than a player typically is. But you can see how the road is going to continue. You're going to see that as we progress around the map as well. Wherever we have a road leaving the map, off in the distance, we have distance scenery implying that there is a road there as well. Here we have the spinnery, our interactive icon. We have our dump point for our cotton or wool. Then we have our spawn point for our fabric. Right next to that, we have a grain sell point. With the dump point right there. This is one of the optional player farms that we can buy. This land includes Field 7. And we can buy that for $272,000. And once we do that, we do have access to a farmhouse. We also have access to a base game silo. And sadly, these sheds cannot be sold. So overall, with respect to can the farms be customized, they can somewhat be customized, and we're going to give the map a half a point there. Here we have our quarry with a fair bit of stone piled up here at the top. We also have a decent amount of stone kind of mid-level piled up right here. Then we can take that stone down here to our lime production, where we can then produce lime. We also have some lime piled up here. We will not be able to make use of this lime until we buy the quarry. And we can purchase the quarry for $1,193,000. Here's a good example of a road kind of making its way off the map, and how the map author has continued the road off into the distance. Down here south of Field 4, we have another potential player farm. So it includes farmland 52, 27.87 acres, $563,000. And upon purchasing that, we do have access to this large machinery shed. We have a water tower, a farmhouse, and then a large base game farm silo. We can sell the silo. The shed is going to remain. So over here we have a really cool setup for a sugar mill. Or a sugar sell point for sugar beets, sugar cane. We have our dump point right here. But then we have all this kind of decorative elements. We have our audio, running engines and such. All these vehicles are staging, waiting to dump. And it continues on back through here. Here we have our interactive trigger. Sugar production. Let's go ahead and take a look. We have sugarcane sugar out of sugar. Our pallet spawn point right there. Let's make our way kind of toward the center of the map. This is where the bulk of the rest of the activities are going to be going on. Along the BR-163 highway. Here we have the biogas plant. Now, the biogas plant, there is an interesting caveat. When I was taking a look at this earlier, I bought the land, but it did not also get me the BGA. I had to buy the BGA separate. So what I want to try right here is I want to buy the BGA first and see if it gives me access to the land as well. You can see we are right here at 24. We do not own the land. We're going to buy the BGA for $875,000. We still do not own the land. You can then buy the land for $283,000. Once we do buy the BGA, we do have the ability, if I'm remembering right, to sell it. Yes, we do. So we could sell the BGA and then put our own down. Now, when we do sell the BGA, this water, or not this water, but this light pole is going to remain, as well as this fence here and this fence over here. So you will kind of have to make do with that area. Right next to the BGA, conveniently marked BGA, we then have another player area. This particular player area has two large cow buildings associated with it. That is Farmland 19 for $511,000. And these are the modded cow areas that we saw in the build mode. And these are going to hold 160 cows apiece. And they are already preloaded with 80 cows. So we have our standard triggers here. We have our milk trigger. We have our food trough inside, as well as our straw. Comes with this large three-sided silage bunker and this large contractor machine shed. Now, if you own this land, if you sell the cows, you can sell these animal areas, but what you cannot sell is you cannot sell the shed, nor can you sell the silage bunker. In this same area, we have then a custom dairy operation here. We have our pallet spawn point. We have our dump point. And then around the side, we have our interactive trigger. And then this production facility is going to be making our butter, cheese, chocolate, yogurt, skim milk, UHT milk, whole milk, and lactose-free milk. Across the street from there, we have Lizard Logistics as a sell point. We also have a bulk buy point for some products. Let me make sure I get these right. We have a buy point for liquid fertilizer and herbicide, as well as a buy point for seed, fertilizer, and lime. And then we have a bulk sell point for agricultural inputs. Down the street from that, we have a really neat setup fueling station. And boy, this place gets a whole lot of traffic. These trucks set up here idling. Then around the back, we have a maintenance trigger. Apparently this harvester is overheating a bit. Here we have a maintenance trigger. You're in need for some maintenance. We have a restaurant sell point. Then right next to that, we also have a large grain processing facility. Right here. There's the dump point for that. And then here we have our case dealer. But we're just going to skip that. We're going to come back to that. Uh-oh, somebody got pulled over for inspections. We have our animal dealer. with animated animals. Love to see these. Here we can fill bulk manure by a point, slurry by a point. We have our bale sell point located inside the shed there. Then over here we have a grocery sell point. Right next to the grocery we do have a soccer field or football field, making use of the Elm Creek Wolves Stadium. And like I said, this map does have the Holt Bellaroon game cartridges as collectibles. There's your only hint. In town here we have some sell points, some production points. Sell point located right there. And there we go. So let's make our way back to the case dealer, where we'll grab the Mahindra and do a drive around and catch up on anything that we missed. So down here at the case dealer, let's go ahead on inside. And at the sales counter, we're going to be able to acquire our vehicles. We have a custom shop camera. As far as our vehicle spawn point, we're going to find that here around back. And then we have our maintenance trigger located right here. And then this must be here to remind everybody what can't be serviced. So I think what we'll do is we're going to exit here and make our way to the north. Come back down the eastern side of the map. Make our way across the northern part of the interstate. Then come across the southern part of the interstate. And then conclude over at the southeastern part of the map. As we mentioned during the fly around, one of the alternate player farms is over here north of Field 4. Then we have our custom sugar factory for sugarcane only. So we're going to come in the input, go through the scales. Then we have our dump point for our sugarcane right there. Then our interactive trigger is around back. Then our pallet spawn point. Really neat setup. The map has lots of ambient sounds. Kind of really help sell each location. There we have that player farm again. If you're into sugarcane, well, this might just be your very next playthrough. With respect to buildings using the new texturing technique as well as ground textures, we are going to give the map a half a point there as well. while we do have very nice ground textures, and we have several buildings that are using the new texturing technique, a fair bit of the custom buildings here on the map are not using that new technique. So we are going to give the map a half point there. Does that ultimately affect your gameplay? Well, really only you are going to be able to decide on that. As I mentioned earlier, we've got two areas where we have a fair bit of stone piled up that you can take down here to the bottom of the quarry and run through the lime plant. Got more stone piled up over here. If you do buy the quarry so you can process the stone, then you can also use the lime that is already piled up down there. I don't think we necessarily need to go all the way down there, but we do have, as a point of interest, at the top level there, we do have just above the Mahindra. That is where you're going to be dumping your stones. And then further down we have our interactive icon. And then on the other side we do have our spawn point, or a dump point, or a fill point I should say, for our lime. Really well done quarry, and I don't think we have really ever seen a South American map that doesn't include a quarry. It's almost a prerequisite. And the guys that do the South American maps, in my opinion, they do a really good job with these quarries. It's almost like, you know, someone does a good quarry, well, then everyone else has to step it up and kind of top that quarry with the next one. We're making our way over to yet another possible player farm that is part of the land that is also Field 7. That is just to the south of the quarry. Okay, good. I thought I was diving back down in. So that is located right there with the fence. Now, I do believe we can sell the fence if we own this land. We can definitely sell the fence up by the farm where we have Field 4. And I really like the ability to put these ag bags down as silo extensions. Really like that idea. Hope we see more of that. So here we have the spinnery again. Our interactive icon, our dump point, and our pallet spawn point under the shed. We have our grain sell point. Let's just go in the out and out the in. Sure. There's no problem with that. All these ambient sounds. I just heard that truck idling under the shed. These trucks are idling. Each one their own independent idle. So let's jump on the highway and run down across the middle of the map. There we have that organized forestry area with the trees planted in rows, different sections having different height trees. Going through an inspection area or a police station. Pretty neat little touch here. And we'll jump off the exit so we can go through town. We're back up where we have our case dealer. And coming through here, we have another grain sell point. Those gates are kind of slow. Kind of slow to open. Gives you a little bit of caution. Now we're coming in behind the fuel station with the service trigger because we have our restaurant located right here. And it appears this one has some operating hours, 7 to 6 p.m. And we have our service trigger there and fuel. We have Lizard Logistics. Then we have some bulk buy areas for liquid fertilizer, herbicide, solid fertilizer, lime, and seed. And a sell point for agricultural products. Those are transport, logistics, whatever you want to call it. There's the bay we're going to go to sell those products. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and spawn in those custom pallets and take a look and see what they look like. So here we have our canned olives. We have our canned corn. We have our ketchup. We have our lactose-free milk, I believe. We have our skim milk. We have our soybean oil. We have our tomato sauce. UHT milk. We have our whole milk. Then we have our yogurt. And that's what those individual pallets are going to look like. Let's go the right way on the interstate, please. We'll definitely have the cops coming after us. So then on the other side of the interstate, we have our BGA. Missed my turn off. Quick, 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 before the cops come. Now that has a bridge that goes underneath of it. Like when we have multiple terrain like that. So we have to go all the way up here to the exit. So here we have the other possible player area with the 2 modded cow pens with feeding robots. We also have the custom dairy that makes all the various forms of milk. We already took a look at that during the fly around. Just head back this way. And then through town here, we have a few sell points and some other things that I think we kind of missed. We did see this grocery sell point right there, kind of a tight entrance into that. Another restaurant sell point. Right there, again, a tight entrance into there. And we have a modded bakery. And this is really interesting, the way it is prefabbed in here. And that is the placeable bakery that we can also put down. They will take bread and cakes. Pretty standard there, looks like. Our bank here. Oh, I better get this mob is forming. I gotta get out of here. Now our pickup truck is parked somewhere around here. There it is. This is where we spawned in at. Here's our pickup. We have the athletic facility. Around the back, of course, we have the unload point for our grocery store. Down here we have our animal dealer and bale sell point. So our bale sell point. Now we have something over here along the side. Not really sure how you're supposed to get to it with the fence here and all. So we buy TMR, mineral feed, pig feed here, but that's going to be kind of tight to get into with that gate. Then we have the animal dealer proper over here where we can buy our animals. And as everyone knows, I love me some animated animals at the animal dealer. That is exactly what we have here. We also have lots of pedestrians walking around, which is good to see. Good to feel the life of the map. With a buy point where we can buy bulk line, or not bulk line, but bulk manure or slurry. And we'll continue to the next few points. I think as we progress down to the next few points, I think we've seen enough to really cover the last scoring metric, and that is player and interactive areas being clearly marked. And I do believe that they are throughout the entirety of the map, so we are going to be giving the map a full point there as well. And that's going to give this map a score of 4 out of 5. A very good, very respectable score. We only lost points in 2 areas. One with respect to buildings using the new texturing technique, and 2, farms not being totally customizable because there are some things that are basically built in. We have our sawmill, so we have our dump point for our logs. We have our log cell trigger. We have our pallet spawn point, our interactive icon, our trigger for wood chips, and then right at the same area, we have our carpentry shop, where we have our pallet spawn point, interactive icon, wood cell trigger, and our unload point for logs or planks. Now we're just going to take a little shortcut. Don't mind me. And run down the road here. Over the bridge to our final grain sell point. Sorry, this is our flour factory. Okay, we've already been here in the fly round: wheat flour, barley flour, oat flour, sorghum flour, corn flour, and soybean flour. And then to the south of that, we then have our buyable land here, which then will include all 8 of those greenhouses. Let me know, guys, what you all think down in the comments below for BR163MS. Kind of an interesting name to the map, but once you know that it's named after a stretch of the BR163 highway, well, it kind of starts to make sense. I think this is a really interesting and intriguing South American map. Be good for single player or multiplayer, given the fact that we have at least 4 buildable areas, or 4 playable areas that are set up for farms. And, well, multiplayer is pretty much the only way that I think sugarcane should be tackled. And until next time, happy farming.